Emma Loop, and I'm here with Dan Dominato of the Libertarian Party. He's running for the MPP spot in the Windsor-Tecumseh election and the upcoming provincial by-election. Welcome, Dan.
Hi, thanks.
And so Dan, just want to learn a little bit more about you. What's been your life's proudest moment so far?
Life's proudest moment? Well, it has to be the birth of my children. I mean, I thought material things were, were achievements until I had my kids, and now seeing, my family grow and stuff like that, proudest moment by far.
Mm-hmm. And so do you have any big plans with the kids for after the by-election?
Oh, big time. We're going on vacation.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
We're going to take some time off around my wife's birthday and, maybe relax a bit.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about jobs.
Sure.
Lots of jobs lost recently in Windsor because of the auto industry and that sort of thing.
Definitely.
Where do you think these jobs can be regained in Windsor?
Well, the automotive sector is rebounding at the moment, and a lot of those jobs are starting to come back to us. We're starting to see in some of the tool and die operations and things like that. There's a lot of great opportunity for research and development around here. We produce some brilliant engineering students. Sadly, I don't see manufacturing coming back until we make some really big shifts in the way our province manages taxes, our environmental policy, employment policy, and just all of our policy in general has played a really big role in ensuring that manufacturing is left and isn't coming back. Mm-hmm. So we need to really kind of focus on what those employers need to come back to this area, and a lot of it is cost-based. They're going to places that are more cost competitive, which now includes the United States. Canada used to have, and Ontario used to have a big cost advantage over the United States with the dollar. I mean, we can't change what the dollar is worth, but we can make our tax policies and local policies and provincial policies consistent with what we see in other places, or more competitive than that.
Mm-hmm. And what should the province be doing to get recent grads, young people with university or college degrees, what should the province do to help them land jobs?
Well, what the province needs to do, the role of the province should be to create an environment that's employment friendly. What we're looking at is opening up some of the government-controlled monopolies, which will create employment opportunities like in healthcare and education. Right now, the University of Windsor is graduating tons and tons of Bachelor of Education students, prospective teachers who have nowhere to go. Under our plan, we'd like to be able to allow people to direct their tax dollars to different schools that they see fit, more so than just the 4 school boards that they can already do that with. And that'll create a lot of teaching opportunities in private schools that meet the needs of students better, special needs students better than current schools can meet them due to high class student sizes in classes and things like that. So we think that'll make a better fit, as well as healthcare. Healthcare, currently the only care you can get is through OHIP. We want to be able to allow people to choose whatever kind of healthcare that they want through any provider that they wish, including OHIP. We need to make sure that there's competition there, so additional hospitals and clinics can open up to better serve people and also create employment opportunities. So the role of the province isn't to create jobs or to ensure people a job, it's to nurture the environment that fosters that employment creation.
And going back to healthcare, do you think that what you mentioned is the biggest and most urgent issue facing healthcare in the area?
Having dealt with the healthcare system a little bit over the past few months, my wife and I visited the ER twice because of a condition that she has, which is quite acute when it does happen. I think it's a huge issue. And I think that a lot of people, including our government administration, really have their head in the sand about that system. There's no reason why anybody should have to wait 4 hours to get into an emergency room and then another 2-3 hours to see a doctor. Mm-hmm. It's inexcusable. And with the way the budgetary situation is in Ontario, we can't throw more money at it. We're out of money. We wasted billions of dollars on the Liberals' pet projects. There's no more money to be thrown at it. So our solution is to allow people to direct their money to the providers that they see fit that can serve them the best, because individual Canadians can serve individual Canadians better than a large bureaucracy can. And we think that'll make massive improvements in wait times and quality of care.
So people would be able to choose where their tax money is going, like
Correct.
in terms of healthcare providers.
Exactly, and that model has been shown in many European countries, as well as some Asian countries as well, that have very good standards of care, where most healthcare is provided by private organizations. However, the government gives vouchers and allows people to direct their tax money to the most competitive plan of their choice.
Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about energy here in Ontario. Energy bills are arguably quite high here in Ontario. How do you get them to be a bit lower?
Well, again, going back to the competitive model, we need more competition in energy. Right now, it's a government-controlled monopoly that contracts out its work to different other smaller providers, but everything comes back to Ontario Hydro. And we need to allow private companies to set up power generation that meets the standards of our a basic standard. And then we also need to control our subsidies and not invest in such risky power generation projects like microfit and wind turbines, because those types of power generation just aren't effective under certain conditions. They can't be throttled like other sources, and at any given time, they're not generating power that's needed on demand, or they're generating power that we can't use. So it's really inefficient, and that's the main source of the increase in prices that we're seeing. So we need to get our government out of subsidizing those, again, liberal pet projects, and back to competitive energy generation.
And a little bit about the environment now. You know, there are some air issues here in Ontario and in Windsor specifically, with pet coke across the river, you know, bacteria in the water. What's the province's role in that?
Well, the province's role in the environment should be first and foremost the rights of the individual, and then the rights of the municipalities. A lot of what we've seen in the past is federal and provincial governments overriding the needs of the municipalities, and specifically the individuals. So what we need to do is take a individual and municipality focused approach to these issues, and we need the individual and the municipality to say, okay, well, we have a problem here, we need to allocate resources to this, but we can't have the province coming in and overriding and saying, we're going to direct how these issues are being addressed, or federal government for that matter. So what needs to be considered in our policy is property rights first and foremost, and then the rights of the municipalities, and then from there the province and federal government.
What exactly do you mean by focusing first and foremost on individuals?
Well, if an individual has an issue on their property, they need to bring that to the attention of the municipality, instead of the municipality overriding those people's rights. For example, what we've seen in LaSalle with a lot of properties being co-opted for environmental reasons, like the fox snake. There's been people who have had property in that area for many years, but it's been co-opted by IRCA, and they can no longer do anything with their property without specific permission from IRCA. They have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to have evaluations done at their expense, which could still bar them from doing any type of development on their land. We think that property owners should come first when it comes to their property, and then the consideration of anything else beyond that. But greater consideration needs to be done to make sure that property owners aren't disenfranchised from the land that they own.
Okay, thank you very much for coming out, Dan.
Yeah.
That was Dan Dominato from the Libertarian Party for this edition of Red Chair Chats.